Hey book readers, I have a bit of a cold right now, so my voice is extra gravelly. It sounds pretty cool in my own head, but we'll see what it turns out on video. I recently went to the flagship half-price bookstore in Dallas. It's 55,000 square feet of used book awesomeness. You can spend hours there hunting for well-known or unknown reads, and it's a favorite date night activity for my wife and I. Anyway, I went there this past weekend and I came home with 7 treasures. So here's what I got. First up is Dragon's Egg by Robert L. Forward. I was halfway through reading this book when I bought it. I knew that at that point, halfway through, it was going to be a 5-star read for me. It was just that good. So I took the plunge and I bought it at Half Price Books. It's a first contact novel with teeny tiny aliens that live at like 100 times the speed of humans, and in this book, it alternates between the evolution of these little bitty aliens and then a group of human astronauts who are kind of going to check out where the aliens live. Of course, you get to see the aliens transform quickly over time as the humans realize more and more that something is going on down there on this object that they're looking at. I had to buy this book. It just blew me away. It is an amazing first contact novel if you're into that type of thing. So good. And the only reason I can think of why it isn't more popular is the name. The name is terrible. Dragon's Egg. It has, you find out in the book why it's called that, but if you're just going into it, this is terrible branding, terrible marketing. The editor, somebody should have told the author that this was not the best name for the book. You don't realize what it is going in. You think it's going to be some fantasy novel about dragons. It has nothing to do with that. The second book I got is Remember the Alamo by Kevin D. Randall and Robert Cornett. This is a Texas sci-fi book, which definitely a combo I had to buy. For those that don't know, the Battle of the Alamo was pivotal in Texas's revolution against Mexico. The Texans lost the battle, but it served as a rallying cry on the path toward independence. But this book changes the results of the battle because the U.S. wants to own a rich oil field that's currently in present-day Mexico. The book jacket says that through a top-secret process, 33 combat-hardened Vietnam vets are headed back into the past. Their mission? To secure the richest oil land in history as American territory. They're going back to 1836, but this time with submachine guns and grenades, tear gas and Uzis. This time, America is going to win. America. Another book I got is Tea with the Black Dragon by R.A. McAvoy. I heard that this is a fantasy mystery novel that's supposed to be one of the best from the 1980s, so I decided I needed to check it out when I saw it at the bookstore. The Wikipedia overview says, Martha McNamara is called west to San Francisco by a message from her daughter Elizabeth, a computer programmer. When she arrives, however, Elizabeth has disappeared. Malin Long, an Asian gentleman who is skilled in both human and computer languages, and who may be a transformed 2,000-year-old Chinese dragon, aids Martha in her search for her daughter. As they search for clues to Elizabeth's disappearance, they discover hints that Elizabeth is involved in a dangerous crime. Now, this is not something I would normally have chosen, but I'm just going to see if it lives up to the 1980s hype. Next up is The Food of the Gods by H.G. Wells. The gist of this one is that a couple of scientists invent a food that, when eaten, makes baby chicks as large as buzzards and rats bigger than horses. So, what happens when they feed it to babies? I'd never heard of this book until I stumbled upon it at Half Price. It sounds strange, but I generally like H.G. Wells stuff, and I'm starting to realize now that the plots of these books so far sound like bad, low-budget B movies. I'm not sure what that says about my mood or my tastes when I pick them up, but maybe I have low standards, I don't know. I also got Time Gate by John Jakes, the man who has 2 first names for both his names. And it seems like the basic plot of this sci-fi book is that a time gate is invented, and this lets people go into the past or the future, but it has to be kept top secret since in the wrong hands, of course, it could be used for evil. Then the book jacket says, traveling through time, even one man could alter history enough so that everyone on Earth would cease to exist. Of course, it would never happen because only a madman would even try to distort the time stream. Then one horrifying day, it did happen, and Tom and Cal found themselves chasing through a rapidly changing panorama of history, trying desperately to capture their enemy before they and their whole world vanished forever. So a bad dude changes time and these two other guys are trying to fix it. Pretty simple, but I'm in. Up next is Once Upon a Time in the East by Lionel Fenn. And from what I understand, this is a pulpy Western sci-fi along the lines of Back to the Future, the third and worst one, unfortunately. Womp womp. And the cover says, the man they call Diego is a gunslinger on the run, and by accident he finds the perfect place to hide, the future. But he's about to discover that New York City in the 1990s is no less dangerous than the Old West in the 1880s. And the last book I picked up is The Ship That Sailed the Time Stream by G.C. Edmondson. The short and sweet synopsis of this classic sci-fi novel is that a U.S. Navy research ship is struck by lightning, causing it to go 1,000 years back in time and be attacked by Vikings. And I've seen some reviews describe it as a madcap adventure with like a hectic pace that's on par with direct to DVD sci-fi movies, so I know that I'm in for a wild ride. There you have it, my first ever book haul video. I won't do many of these because I'm cheap and I prefer to borrow books from my local library, but I'm sure there'll be more in the future. Be sure to let me know if you've read any of the books that I bought or if any of them sound really particularly interesting. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe too. Happy reading.